All right, we're live. Hey guys, hopefully you guys are doing well. I had to start a little bit later than I was expecting today. Some chores to finish up in the morning. But here we are. We're ready now. Well, ready with exception of we have to disable cubes. But I'm ready. I am personally ready to start talking about these maps. It's pretty exciting. Pyramid came up with a scenario. He sketched it out. So he gave me an idea of what he was looking for, and then he also sent me some additional notes from the playtesters. So we're going to have a look and see how we can incorporate those in our scripting technology to make this very unique map that he came up with. Hey Pyramid, welcome. We were just disabling our cubes mod and talking about you. Only good things, I assure you. Okay, so let's load this scenario up, and then I'll read over. We'll give an overview of what it's got, and then I'll read over the notes, and we'll see what kind of changes we can make to it. Oh, whoops! We loaded the wrong scenario. This isn't going to be the right one. That's all right. We'll load the right one. I don't know what this is, but or why this is like this. I know what this is. This is Flotagano. Perhaps you've seen this, Pyramid. This is an example of Tech Chariot map scripting technology. It doesn't quite look like this anymore. Number of players is 8. Now it looks slightly different. These tidal pools are a little bit lighter, I think. But they're also shallows, so you can sail over them. And they're slightly bigger, too. So it's easier to get in there and land. Yeah, this is what it looks like now. See how this is slightly larger? A little brighter. It's not quite as good, I think, visually, but functionally it's much better. Alright, anyway, we need to load the correct scenario. So let's do that. Tenoik Titlon. Oh no, we don't want to save. We want to load. Okay, so here we are. Player starts. Did you start with an Arabia script before you generated this, Pyramid, or did you make this from scratch? And they have the boars at the end of the pathway. And you come up and you lure them in. Alright. And the pathways are made out of mud. You started with, oh, okay. You started with Nomad. So if I were a traditional style scripter, which I am not, but if I were, I would basically make Arabia and well, actually this has a larger concentration of forests in the center, so that could be trickier still. You added all of the resources by hand. Nice. Yeah, we're going to make sure you don't have to do that. We'll turn it into a random map script. We'll make it capable of great things. Anyway, they would create the player lands from mud. They would have a base terrain of this grass or rainforest. They might have a land in the middle with a lot of this rainforest here, and then they'd elevate the land, and then they would apply the mud terrain to the center of it, and then they'd do connections, and they'd connect the mud of the players to the mud in the center, sort of like the land connections. I don't know how great it would be. I have to consider it. I wanted the nomad forest configuration. All right. But we'll see what we can do. So here are the notes that Pyramid sent me about it. He had his team test them, and this is what they said. They said flank players should be closer together so that there will be more aggression early on. Let's take a look and see if... Yeah, that is quite far. I can see where they're coming from with that. Okay. And these guys are also quite far away. Because right now it looks like these players have a heavy bias toward either side. All right. It says pocket players are closer to the center so they can compete for the center's resources. So they want the pocket players to be closer to the center to fight over the gold. They said normal amount of relics are distributed evenly on the map. I agree with this one. This one did jump out at me. Because if you put all of the relics and all of the gold in one place, then if somebody secures that area, then they've won the game. Random patches of boars in the center to encourage fights. So are these... I guess these are technically player-assigned boars. They want... Do they mean the center of the map, like where the gold is, or do they mean everywhere else? And gold in the center with a similar configuration to a Gold Rush map. Huh. Alright, that's kind of similar to what we have here, so I'm not really sure where they're coming from with that. So I'll step away real quick. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry. Gotta blow my nose. Alright, I'm back. So I guess we'll just get to it then. We'll start making the map. I do have a question for Pyramid, though. And that is, you know, what is this map about? I can see that you want a Gold Rush style map. And that's good. But what's the objective here beyond that? Is this... I saw that you named it whatever it was. Tenochtitlan or something like that. I have to check the other messages. Tenochtitlan 1. So what are you going for? What's the theming of your tournament? Do you want to feature places in Mexico? Have like a map for various cool locations that Mexico has? That's what we did for the Irish tournament, and I thought it came out pretty well. You pronounced that correctly. So you kind of have an opportunity here. You've got a Gold Rush style map that rewards players for controlling the center. Why did you pick this name of the map, and what's the significance? What's this, what's this inspired by? What actual area in real life in Mexico is this inspired by? That's my question. Cool places from all the American continent. Okay. Because the tournament, as I understand it, is only for American players, which from North and South America, the New World, if you will, which doesn't really make any sense to me, but you guys probably have a better understanding of that requirement. So, oh nice, we got some skeletons around this this wonder in the center. So, I mean, what in real life is this based off of? Why did you give it Tenochtitlan as its name? Is there a city called Tenochtitlan in Mexico that has a lot of gold, like it's a legendary lost city, and they have to find it? Tenochtitlan is the name of Mexico City before the conquistadors came. That looks nice, says Jaw00. This is not a scenario, or this is not a random map. It's a scenario, though. So Pyramid made this by hand. We're going to convert it into a random map script. And I'm just looking at it, and it doesn't seem to have the level of complexity that warrants a lot of the Tech Chariot tools, with exception of perhaps the player placement, which I think I can uniquely help him out with. So we saw maps of Tenochtitlan in the Montezuma campaign, if I remember correctly. So we could go back and look at that. Oops, single player campaigns. What are we doing here? America. Montezuma, there we go. What? What? It's not going to show me that. I guess that makes sense. I forgot about it. You sent me a picture of it. Yeah, see that. That could be really cool, right? Wouldn't that be way cooler? It's a really marvelous city. Let me show the picture on stream. It's the Aztec capital. Yeah, it was the capital of the Aztecs. So I'm not, I don't know if I could do cheats here and just cycle through it and we could actually look at the scenario that they designed in Age of Empires. So here's the picture of it, you guys. Got some Aztecs on some building overlooking. This appears to be some large bridge or causeway, perhaps. This appears maybe to be like some floating gardens, which the Aztecs were well known for. And here's parts of the city proper. This looks to be a more like the capital area here. And then there are mountains surrounding it. But the whole thing is that it was on a huge lake, actually. And there were many floating gardens around it. That's my understanding of it. I actually am going to try it. So we're going to... Oh, interesting. All right. So we're going to try the cheats to see if we can cycle through and take a look at what they made in the scenario for it, just because I don't have time to go through and play these, but I do want to show what they came up with. Yeah. I are winner. Oh yeah. Look at that. It worked. Okay. Now let's return to the map. Oops, no. Let's quit current game. Return to campaigns. That's what we want. See the pyramid in the center? That is the coolest part. Alright, the Triple Alliance. We're going to skip that too. This was a really fun campaign, actually. This Montezuma campaign was really well done, in my opinion. It's probably one of their best campaigns, honestly. Oh, wait, I didn't want to do that. Let's play again. Oh, yeah! Tech Chariot busting all the noobs.
Passed down to you by Cuauhtémoc.
He's going up in the ranks, too. He's a Jaguar warrior now. So this is the one where the Spanish invade, I think.
Although the Aztec warriors fought well that...
The Knight of Tears.
Passed down to you by...
He went down in the ranks. He's a prisoner of Tenochtitlan now. Do I have any Stargate-themed maps? No, I should, though. That would be a lot of fun. I don't really know what I would do. Remember, I'm just not that creative. Alright, this is it right here. So this is a scenario that they made in the original Conquerors campaign.
Tlaxcalan priest. We must be cautious. I wonder what would happen if
Look at that, they've got lots of cute reeds there, but they rebuilt this entirely. Tlaxcala's got these arbalisters here reinforcing the Spanish-controlled Tenochtitlan. Conquered Aztecs. But this is what they did. Ukamer Cord says, "Wow, that looks awesome." Yeah, this is just the scenario. The dude starts out here. Out of my way, pig.
And end the Spanish influence there.
And they've got all these bridges, but this is the big lake here. So this is Tenochtitlan. This doesn't look anything like the scenario that you sent me, Pyramid. It actually looks pretty decently similar to this picture that you sent me, though. So we can definitely make the scenario that you sent me into a map, but we shouldn't call it Tenochtitlan if it doesn't look like this. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Let me look up one more thing real quick. See if somebody else already has Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan. Oh, come on. I'm pretty sure the Mad Catter has made a map of this. Really? What was it submitted to? Maybe Holy Cup? So you got to destroy the Spanish Wonder. Alright. But I think we've shown what it looks like. So this is mainly going to be a, you do your thing. How long did the script take me? No, that's not a script. We're just looking at the Montezuma campaign here. Somebody went into the scenario editor and made them. You could have cheesed this campaign by killing the villager right at the start. I did not know that. Alright, let's look it up in the mod center, because I know I've seen that map before. Browse mods. Holy Cup Map Pack. Here we go. By DesAnderes. The Qualifiers Map Pack. Okay, so let's subscribe to this, and I'll restart real quick, and I'll show you what they came up with. I think he called it Texcoco, maybe. So we're gonna go back, exit, restart here real quick, and we'll take a look at it. So this session is mainly about talking with Pyramid and looking over some of the requirements that they gave. And we really want to make sure that we form a good strategy about what maps you're going to have and what their overall layout is going to be. Because it is a lot easier to do it once than it is to do it twice. To do it right the first time, make sure that it's what people are looking for. But I will definitely convert whatever we have, whatever the scenario you sent me, I will convert that into a random map script, Pyramid, if you know you'll use it. I would ask that you give it a more appropriate name. Maybe there's some other place in Mexico that has a similar theme to that. Maybe there's a legendary city of gold somewhere with lots of boars protecting it and other animals. I don't know. But whatever it is, let me know that name and I will give it that name. Because for now, I'm just going to give it some weird name like Jungle Brawl. Some American Yank accent crude name. Okay, so let's come over here to the editors and let's see if we can find that other map. Now I think that Holy Cup was 1v1. Let's see. So I think Texcoco is it, and I think that was made by the Mad Catter. But let's generate it and see how it looks. So it looks similar. The Gaia civilization is not correct. There's all the relics in the middle, and it looks like there are these hero jaguars defending them. So the jaguars regenerate. But the jaguars will not attack the relics. Or they will not attack monks going to get the relics. They obviously won't attack the relics. That wouldn't make any sense. Looks like there are no gates here. And I believe that terrain layering was used to place these walls. So these bridges should be adaptive. Players are out here and they have this siege tower. Oh, the siege tower so you hop over the wall. Interesting. But if you use the siege tower to hop over the wall and get inside, how are you going to get back out again? That's an interesting question. There was actually a bug with the gates too. There may even still be. It may not matter as much here though, where the gates would appear to be converted even when they weren't. So what happens if we change the map size? Does it work on a giant size map? Yes, it does. So that's good. Could be something to consider for your map pack. Let's increase the number of players and see what happens. Yeah, it appears to support a normal number of players for large events. Let's see if it works on a normal size map with 6 players, because those are your settings. Yes, it appears that is the case. So I'm not saying that you can or should use this, but what I'm saying is that some of this stuff has been done already. But maybe if there's something that you like about it, you can talk to the Mad Catter. and see. But that's nice though. I was not expecting these bridges to oh, interesting, and you can't dock here too. It looks, well, maybe you can. One sec, let's check. I was not expecting the bridges to adapt to the different map size. That's nice. No, you can dock. But you cannot wall off the access to the bridge here. They can always walk around it and get on the bridge because there are shallows. So, if I brought up, if I brought up a web browser and I said like historic locations in Mexico. I mean, I get so many results here. Seems like Mexico is a place with a lot of history. So let's see what something like this recommends. Chichen Itza. It's surprisingly well preserved, imposingly beautiful. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this actually looks like is this more in the desert than in the jungle? Oh, this is this is Teotihuacan. It was a holy Mesoamerican city. It's built around 400 BC. And look, here's a pyramid. Pyramid would like that. Oops. We can use that. All right, I think we clicked something last time and it took us somewhere else. So there's Tulum. Tulum is a Maya site, a Mayan area. Look at that, there's like a stone snake here. That's interesting. Tenochtitlan. On an island in Lake Texcoco. Oh, so that's where the name comes from. That random map script is called Texcoco. Yep, because this is supposed to be the lake, and this is supposed to be Tenochtitlan. Okay, let's look at some others. Castle de Chapultepec. This is a little later, 18th century. So it's not so ancient. It may not have been around during the Middle Ages. Uxmal. All right. El Tipos Tico. "25 famous landmarks you must see." A lot of these we've looked at already. Chichen Itza seems to be the most popular. It was made and occupied by the Mayans. Seven Wonders of the World in July 2007. So we can't just not do Chichen Itza. We got to make sure we do Chichen Itza. Copper Canyon. This could be cool. Like we have a little swirling canyon through the middle of the map with lots of gold in it to symbolize the copper. I want your imagination to run wild, Pyramid. Monte Alban, a World Heritage property. So Combi is mostly from Mexico. So I'd like to try to do maps that celebrate where most of the people in Combi are from, as I did with the Irish tournament. I will show you what I did for the Irish tournament if you haven't seen it already. Palenque. This is a pretty cool place. Oh, that's interesting. There's a car underwater. King of Ireland map pack here. We'll show that off. So I want to show you this to give you an idea of what I did for this tournament. So first of all, we've got a map that has some of the various locations. Irish Arabia, which is just a general open map. Glendoloc, which is located here in the Wicklow Mountains of Ireland, in this location. Achill, which is this triangular island right here. And Tara, which is located here. Blarney, which is located down here near Cork. Nomad, which is again just a general Irish nomad map. And Tullyhogue, which is located in Northern Ireland up here. So the General Arabia map is nothing special. There's just the name of the clan or of the event in the center of the Discord, I mean. And then the player lands are organized to always avoid it. So it was my first ever Arabia map, so it may not necessarily have... some people didn't necessarily agree that it was an Arabia map. It was a little different because it has lots of small wood lines instead of 3 or 4 large wood lines. It's got lots of small thin ones, which made overchops easier. But otherwise, it didn't have any special features. It was just a vanilla map. Okay, so Glendoloc here's a picture of Glendoloc in real life. You see 2 really big ridges and then these 2 lakes in between them. And here's the mini-map, 2 big ridges and then the 2 lakes in between them. One lake has deep fish, one lake has shore fish. Here we go. And as you go up in elevation, the density of the trees gets smaller and smaller. And then, of course, there's the Glendoloc Monastery down here, where most of the neutral gold on the map is located. So here is the monastery on this map. You can see the tower here, which was made to keep an eye out for Vikings. Because if the Vikings raided this area, the monks would go and hide. So player starting area. Here's the sort of the swampy area in between these 2 lakes. And then here's the monastery settlement. Right? So monastery, a little bit of a fence, some trees, the tower, a little blacksmith, some other assorted things, little river, creek running past it. So Achill Island, it's mostly peat bog, as you can see. So there are no forests on this map. There are no player assigned forests at all. Here's an overview. The player start is right here. It's a crazy map. A rocky, rough coastline. Some trade on Keel Beach in the center. And so this looks just like, in my opinion, if you brought Achill up on Google Maps, like here's Keel Beach right here. Here's the beach that we've got here. It would look very similar to this. How big was the Irish tournament? What do you mean? I think there were 50-ish participants, maybe a little more than that. So it wasn't very big. It was quite small. The prize pool was $150, 50 of which I contributed. So Tara, so here's what Tara looks like. It's a holy site in Ireland. This is a Neolithic burial ground. You can see the two mounds here, and so we recreated that. We've got one mound here with 3 peaks, and then we have another mound here with 2, just like over here. Okay, and then we've got a grid-shaped pattern of forests on this. Guess what? Just like the grid-shaped pattern of forests here. So in this case, there was actually a bunch of relics in the center and a bunch of priests protecting them, and some neutral stone. So Blarney, here's Blarney Castle. There's not much left of it today. It's in a semi-ruined state, but I recreated it, and I made this instead. So you have a castle in the center, and then you have like a hideout style start, and towers protecting your wood lines that you start with. There are a lot of throwing axemen, but don't worry, they're neutral. They won't go anywhere. Nomad, just a nomad map in the shape of Ireland. 15 different configurations, so you can't predict where the coast is going to be. Small amounts of trees scattered around. The trees have, I think, 300 wood in them apiece. And then finally Tully-Ho, which is this circle of trees around a standing stone, or what used to be a standing stone, again, on top of hills and grid-shaped forests. So we recreated that. So what I'm getting at here, Pyramid, is that we can literally take like some feature from Mexico, or several locations historically from Mexico, and what you see on Google Maps, we can basically put in an Age of Empires map. So really the sky's the limit in terms of imagination. The limiting factor will be, competitiveness and adapting the map to suit the kinds of things that people want to see in a tournament. That's going to be the challenge. But I believe that it is a challenge that we can meet if we work together, and you talk to wherever the money is coming from for your tournament to make sure that they're happy with the map designs. So what I would propose is that you and I take a look at some places. It doesn't have to be Mexico. I would recommend Mexico. I think that would go over the best. It feels like if your primary sponsors are from Mexico, that they would like the idea of celebrating the place that most of the people in the clan are from. Similar to how we did with the Irish tournament, where people got to learn something new about Ireland because of their participation in the tournament. Anyway, I recommend that we take some sites, and we say we're going to make maps out of these 5 sites, and this is what we're proposing. And we submit like a sketch, a drawing, if you will, of what the plan is, with any potential rule changes that we're going to do, and get whoever your sponsor is to approve that. And then assuming that that looks good, we'll go in and turn it into a map. What do you say? Okay, Pyramid says it sounds good. So obviously we wouldn't do Ireland, but I just wanted to show you like what it looks in real life and what ended up on the map script. And I want you to know that those two can be very similar. So it looks like Mad Catter did some good work with Text Coco here. I could probably improve on this, but I don't know how much. It's a good map. And you guys may not even source all of your maps. You guys don't have to source all of your maps from me. It's simpler if you want to give me the credit for making your maps to source all of your maps from me. It could be confusing. Like, say that you guys really did like this map a lot and you wanted to use it in your tournament. I would be okay with that, but then you wouldn't be able to say Tech Chariot made our maps. You'd have to say Tech Chariot made these maps and the Mad Catter made these other maps. Pyramid says, but remember, #1 priority is playability. That's why I wanted to test with the map they already tested. Yep. So we can go in and we can turn that into a random map script for sure. But you want 4 more of these things. So we want to make sure that we have a good plan for them. Okay. Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm still gonna work on that. That one I will do, because it sounds like they're willing to accept it if certain changes are made. But then there's 4 other maps that we need to figure out. So we can come up with a name for that other one, but that's not a top priority. I'll just call it Jungle Brawl for now, and then we can come up with a more appropriate Mexican-themed name for it. And maybe it can be inspired by some place. I mean, it does look like a real place, like it could be a real thing. Somebody could have seen something like that on Google Maps, said, I'm going to turn that into an Age of Empires map. I will have a meeting with them tonight to get the locations. Maybe, Pyramid. That might be a good idea. It could also be another thing, like Pyramid, you're the go-to guy on this. Here's what I want. Here's what I would recommend. You could do, you can do whatever you want. Here's what I would recommend. I recommend that you pick maybe like, I don't know, 10 locations in Mexico that you think are interesting, that you want the outside world to learn about through Age of Empires. Pick 10 locations, and maybe you have some you like more than others, and that's fine. And then when you're ready, let me know, and we'll go through them, and then you and I will meet, and it won't be on stream. You and I will have a conversation, and what I'll do is I will show you this on stream right now. I'll bring up Krita, because I actually have a graphical tablet. That's my primary monitor. And we sketch the concept of the map out, and we make some notes, and then we basically pick the 4 other locations that you want, and then we'll make the notes about what the theme of the map is going to be, how it's going to be playable, etc. We'll get all those arguments together, and then you can sell that to your team and make sure that they're on board with it, and then I'll go and I'll make the map. I'll make all the maps. I don't want to have a situation where I think you're wise to it now, where I go ahead and I make these wonderful, gorgeous maps, and then they say we're not playing those. Because that would be bad. That would be a waste of my time. It would make me look bad, make you look bad. And they would feel bad because we worked on it and then they couldn't use it. All right. So, okay, create new document. So what we do then is you'd get some, we'll just create a custom document here. So let's say, as an example, or actually we could use this one right here. So the one that you sent me, Tenochtitlan, as you call it, I'm going to call it Jungle Brawl. So we'd start out with like the name at the top. In this case, it's Jungle Brawl. And then maybe we'd have a sketch of the mini-map here. And then we'd have player arrangements. And then we'd have, I'm just doing this really quick, right? Some gold in the middle. Oh, no, that's not right. Some gold piles in the middle as an example, right? And then some boars represented by the red dots. So they're all forward. And then maybe you have a ring of trees like this, like many clumps of trees hiding those gold piles in the center. Something like that. Okay, and then maybe you've got pathways leading to the center from the players. Something like this. Okay, and then you've got a little monument in the center. Okay, and then maybe you've got these, maybe you've got relics all around. Okay, so you and I would basically, once you have all your ideas together about what you want, you and I would basically sit down and we would come up with 5 of these sketches, and we would have notes on the side, like triple boar in center per player with 1/3 normal food, right? And that could be a note. And then we could have another one that's like Gold Rush style. And you know, just basic notes about what the plan for the map is. And then you could even have something like inspired by some city. It's inspired by some place. I don't know what place, but and okay. Let's see if we can write that out a little bit better. Some city. There we go. I don't know. I'm not an expert in Mexican history, but I'd love to learn. I'd love to learn for this. All right, and then maybe you have like a, you know, a ring of wood or rings of wood around the outside. You could do that too. Okay, so maybe like a ring of trees around the outside. I don't know. I'm not saying this is what it has to be, but what I'm saying is that you can have like ring of trees, something like that. Except legible. Let's make it legible. Okay, point is that we're basically sketching out the entire plan for the map, and we're like painting this little picture, except it's less time consuming than making a scenario, because I can just draw it like I'm drawing on a piece of paper. Oops. Because I have the graphical tablet. Sketching out the plan, we're getting them to approve like a proposed map concept, and then we'll go ahead and make it. Just to make sure that we don't, you know, that we don't do anything that's too crazy that they can't use. So we could even have like arguments in here, or we could explain why this map represents a certain place in Mexico. What is it about this map that represents a certain place in Mexico. You know, maybe there's a place in Mexico where there's like a monument with many treasures hidden inside a dense clump of forest. Maybe there's some real place like that. We could name this after that and then explain that because we have the monument and the dense cluster of forests and the boars protecting that monument, that it's actually named after, you know, some place that I don't know about right now. So you've already got approval for this. This is just kind of like an example of what you and I would do for the rest of the maps in the map pack. We would basically create a little proposal picture or description, if you will. And then you could present it to them and convince them, and not convince, well, maybe sort of convince them, I don't know, but get their agreement. Wherever the money's coming from, oops, get their agreement. All right, so we got an hour and a half left. Yeah, you understand, you get it. We got an hour and a half left. Let's make what you're looking for. Let's do our best to make this concept that you want, because that depends on me. It doesn't depend on anybody else's opinions. So we can go ahead and do that. But let me actually send this to you real quick, Pyramid. Let's do that because I've lectured you enough. You've beaten a dead horse. You get it. And we're going to make you famous, Pyramid. You're going to be known as the tournament organizer that pushed the envelope. Got everybody's thoughts and feedback in advance. Did something new and amazing. And I'm going to help you do it. So let me send this to you. But I think that, you know, I see deserts, and I've seen that there are deserts in Mexico, there are rainforests, there's all kinds of diverse biomes there, so I think there's a lot of potential. Could be really cool. All right, let's close Krita. So let's go. Publications. Actually, we're gonna, yeah, I think we want publications. We're actually gonna take Oriskany. But we could also do maybe a generic Arabia map if you guys wanted. But let's copy this for now. My folder is an absolute mess. So we're going to call it Jungle Brawl. There we go. It's because I don't have a better name for it right now. Let me actually just look on AOE2map.net and make sure that Jungle Brawl isn't taken. I know I'm not going to keep it, but if I call it this, it's going to get stuck. AOE2map.net. And so if it really does end up getting stuck, Jungle Brawl. Oh, look at this. Somebody made Arena Island. It's like Arena, but you're surrounded by water. Boom behind the safety of walls and sea towers. Indeed. All right. Let's look for Jungle Brawl. Nobody made it. All right, good. So that's what we're going to call it for now. It's fine. I like to get educated, and thank you for your knowledge. Oh, no worries, Pyramid. I'm just trying to help make sure that this is a good experience for everybody. Yeah, I really thought that was cute too, Jaw00. I like that. Okay, so we're going to call this Jungle Brawl for now. We're probably going to rename it with a proper Mexican or Aztec name later. I'm going to rename this Jungle Brawl. You will make your own version of it, really. Seems doable. Okay. So let's come in here and let's gut this script file and we'll start making it. We're going to call this Jungle Brawl, though. Real name TBD. Random map script by Tech Chariot on this 18th of June, if you can believe that. 2022. Player terrain, it looks like I have set that set to 9 for whatever reason. We'll leave those. It's fine. Elevation generation. Terrains. Oh, right. So we're going to go down to wherever the land is. And this is the only reason we're doing this is just to get a template. Okay, land autoscribe. Everything below that we are going to destroy. So this is actually, all right, so we will cut this out, select everything, delete it, paste it back in. Okay, and we'll get rid of this, and we'll get rid of this. So we don't need to auto-scribe any objects right now. It looks like we have a bunch of terrain layerings, which we can remove as well. You guys don't want any pine forests in your... Actually, Pyramid, tell me, are there any pine forests in Mexico? I think of it as like a tropical place, but maybe somewhere there are pine forests. If there are mountains, there are generally pine forests. All right. There are. Aha! I knew it. See, you got everything. There's probably no snow, though. There's probably nowhere in Mexico where it snows. Maybe in the Querétaro area, though. All right, and base terrain is going to be grass. All right. Good. So we'll close this. We don't need that anymore. Hopefully Cesar and the floated team are happy, remain happy with Flotagano for a while. Oh yeah. All right, what else have we got here? We've got different configurations. We don't need that. Circular variable lands, we have that. I do think we're going to need that, actually. But I don't see the need to have multiple configurations. So we'll just give we'll just give one configuration here. And we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. So these are circular variable lands. We'll comment that down. We'll comment that out as well. We have a rounded rectangle function, which we don't necessarily need at the moment. We'll comment that out. All right. I've got to remember what all these little things do here now. I think this is the elevation, offset, angle of 1. I think we just need to put 90 here, or 0. So, Pyramid says, apparently Mexico is the world's largest center of pine diversity. Wow. I did not know that. I think most people would not expect that, too. Look at all those different types of pine trees. That's cool. Okay, so that's what I mean, Pyramid. Find some stuff that you want to talk about, that you think is unique and interesting, and we can make maps based on those places. Doesn't have to be pine trees. Could be jungle trees or deserts. All right. Let us, I think we're pretty close to running this now, so let's edit this. The final entry is the eccentricity, which I think should just be 0.5. Forest nothing with pine trees. No, that's not very competitive, Jaw 00. Okay. Let's see what this does for us. Oh. We got manual land appendix. So, well, I'm trying to think if that really should be the appendix or if it should be stated first. We'll give it land position. I guess we could try it in the appendix. And we'll give it land percent like 10, maybe. And we'll give it a terrain type of jungle. And maybe we'll give it a base size of 30. Base size, actually 30 is way too large. Maybe base size of 20. And then give it some land growth. Allow it to grow. Okay, maybe 20%, 20 and 20. Base elevation 0, but again we could make it something different if we really wanted to. But let's leave it at 0 for now. So this is going to be our manual land that we're putting in. All right, let's just. So if we go back here and we go to the script first of all, we can confirm that there's essentially nothing in the script. We have a bunch of definitions. And then everything in elevation and terrain generation and objects is all commented out, and we have no lands here. So when we run this, it should populate a bunch of things inside of the file. So I'm going to rename this Jungle Brawl too. All right. Now it's probably going to give us some error. Ah, yes. We forgot to delete that end, but that's okay. We just deleted it now. see what we got here. Oh, right. It doesn't like these cell inputs for this function. Ah, yes. So we want CPL, and we don't actually have any of these, so I think we can remove those. So we're just creating player lands. So it's done super fast, and it basically just has the player land definitions here. We're defining L, so that should be fine. And so that should create the player lands for us. So we go in here to editors, create scenario. And actually, let's go into Jungle Brawl just so you guys can see. We'll hit Control Z here. We'll undo it so there's nothing, and then save it. So if we went here and we went to like a normal 6-player map size, and we wanted to generate Jungle Brawl, is what we're calling it at this time. I need the J's, don't I? To learn my alphabet. Here we go. J. Jungle Brawl. Okay, there's nothing here. And rightfully so, because there's nothing in the script file. So let's configure the 6 players that we want. And now, we'll run this again. It'll take less than a second. And all of this data has been written here. And there's really not a lot. So I think we only have one possible configuration, although this says that we have 4. Oh, right. We've got two team biases here. Let's get rid of that then, and then there should only be 2 possible configurations, and that is whether or not blue and red are up against each other, or whether or not blue and orange are up against each other. You know, just the different teams being against each other. Okay. So we run that, and hopefully that's a little bit more. That looks a little bit better. Let's see. Ah, all right. So we got the player lands, some of them, and we have this area here, which is our original forest, right? We've got a random elevation patch there, which doesn't look right. So let's do a couple of things, actually, just for fun. Just to make just so that we see everything properly, we're going to set the elevation equal to 0. I think that's what I'm doing there. Yep, base elevation. And then base size is fine. So it looks like we set the terrain equal to grass 2, I think. We'll set it equal to dirt. So to do that, we have to come in up here. But you can see it's got all of these lines and lines and lines of code. And at the very end, it's tagged its jungle land on. So instead of 9, let's make it, we can close this for now. DLC black, whatever DLC black is. AoE2 terrains, here we go. So it's 47. So we'll make all of these 47. Okay. So now when we run it, it's going to be at the same elevation because we haven't changed that part yet. And it looks like our land is sort of moving around in the middle. But at least we can see it pretty well. Okay. So we could run that. We could literally run that right now. Why not? So now this is no longer going to be elevated. It's going to sink in, and it's going to be flush. But the forest keeps on coming around and running into things, which we don't want. So let's see if we can give that land a clumping factor to prevent that. Base elevation. Terrain type. Base elevation should really go first. Base size 20. Alright, and then let's put clumping factor. Clumping factor 30. Okay. Oh man, look at that. Well, we could try giving this its own zone to see if that helps. But I have a feeling that's not going to help. Because it sometimes comes out and completely envelops a player land, which is not what we want. So I think what we're going to do in this case is we're actually going to give it borders to keep it in the center-ish. And we can also, borders would be a pretty easy way to do it. So let's left, right. What is it, Jaw00? It's left, right, top, bottom, something like that. Actually, let's start up here. Up here. And this is being placed after player lands. Okay, so top border, bottom border, left border, right border. And we'll make this like 30, 30, 70, 70 maybe? I'm not too familiar with borders, so I don't exactly know how they work because I never use them. But this might be one situation where they're useful. Okay, so it appears to be fully contained. Maybe that's too tight. I think it is. Let's expand that window. So maybe 20, 80, 20, and 80. And let's run it. No change. So I'm doing something wrong. Maybe they all just need to be 20. Alright, I think that's the case. So let's try going up to 30 now. See if we can pin it more toward the center with that. So avoid each of these borders by 30% of the map. There we go. So we might even be able to go back to 25. We could make these player lands a bit bigger. We could even pull the pockets in to be closer. So I think that these are the pockets, but for the purposes of visualizing where we're at, I think these are the pockets, but let's create the object. Let's go in object generation. So we'll create object town center. We will set place for every player, and we will find the closest. And this will create their towns, or at least their one building. So we have an idea of where everybody is. Ha, that's funny. Okay. So the town center refuses to spawn on DLC black terrain, so therefore it's just on the side, and that's what we're getting. So note that there is sometimes the case where red could be over here and purple would be over here instead. So I think dirt is what? Dirt is 6. Let's use that for now. There we go. So now it's okay with placing the players exactly here. We might even do connections, but we have to be careful because if we try to connect, let's see what our connection options are. We could connect all players, and then we could connect the players to a neutral land as well. But I'm not really sure that I want to do that. So we could try to make sure that the players all have equal forests for now. That could be a useful consideration. Could boost the... Hey, Ronald Rage. Welcome. I'm just trying to think of... We've got a lot of different things we can do. I think we want to pull these players closer together because we're going to go through the checklist that Pyramid shared, essentially. You're at work chilling? Well, welcome. All right. So we're going to go through Pyramid's checklist. See the notes that he sent. And see what we can do about players, about getting players to start closer together. I do want to start to elevate this jungle. So we're going to maybe create elevation. Oh shoot, we're just creating a random elevation 1. You killed 60 manganite last night with a double siege onager shot. I'm really glad to hear that because people mangudaiing, people microing mangudai against siege weapons is so annoying to me. Siege weapons should be a counter unit to mangudai, but they're not because of people's micro. You know, back in the day, in the HD days when there was like lag and stuff, you made different decisions. You didn't play mangudai as fearlessly and as shamelessly as you do now, because now you're like, lag? There's no risk with this, and you go in and you take things that I think you don't deserve. I think the balanced decisions for the unit were made accounting for lag. That's what I'm saying. And now that there is no lag, the unit needs to be rebalanced so that siege weapons counter them. I understand they have bonus damage against siege weapons, but I don't think that they should like run around and kill like 6 onagers without consequence, you know? Right now there's essentially no risk for it. So we're going to create elevation 7 maybe, and we're going to elevate the jungle. Jaw00 says I defended against mangudai plus ram push on arena with 4 organ guns. Alright, lots of tiles, many clumps. Actually, we only need 1 clump, really. Set scale by groups. We don't need to scale it. And we'll leave that in there, enable balanced elevation, but I don't think we need it. And we could even do, like, spacing. So, let's bring up DesAnderes' guide here, just so I make sure that I have everything in front of me. And let's go to elevation generation. And there should be an argument here for spacing it. Spacing, amount, yes. So we'll do spacing 2. So now we could go like into terrains. And again, this is just real quick, Pyramid, just to show you that something like this is really not that hard. Pretty much any scripter could do this. We're going to create terrain grass 2. The base terrain is going to be jungle. So, yeah, pick some crazy stuff, Pyramid. I want you to pick some really awesome, crazy things. We're not going to do it by height limits, but we are going to do space and other terrain types of, like, I don't know, maybe 6 for now. And we're going to create grass 2 from the jungle. So let's see if we can get this looking a little bit more like the map that Pyramid came up with. Pyramid's ready. Okay. It's interesting though that it almost looks like it did this elevation after the terrain. Maybe not. I guess these trees are on a higher elevation. Like if I deleted these trees, there should be some elevation changes here. Yep. Okay, no, so it is working properly, which is good. And then we'll actually increase the thickness of this a little bit. Maybe 8, and then we'll do spacing of 3. And we don't have to make the terrain grass 2. All right. So now we're going to do leaves on top of this. Actually, we can revert some of this jungle to grass too now. So, for example, create terrain. We're going to create grass 2 from jungle. And we're not going to have a spacing other terrain types this time. And we're going to go land percent maybe 1 for now, or 2. And number of clumps we'll do like 10, or maybe 16. I don't know, 24 actually, maybe a better number. Okay, and we're going to do that, and that's going to create patches in these forests. Okay, way too many clumps. So maybe 12. And we need to increase the land percentage a bit. Four. I think 4 might be too much. Yeah, that's a little better. Still. Oh, are we scaling this? I bet that's the problem. Yep, we are. Number of clumps, 6. So you can pass through. So this is an example, an idea here. Of course, in this case, each player doesn't get their own path yet. So there is also something else that we can try with that too. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this elevation for now. And get rid of the terrain layering for now. And we actually won't even put this land in just yet. We'll make this land like leaves or something. Because I want to create the path. I want to create the path now, I think, to give you an idea of what could be done. Oh, wait a second. We'll make it mud. That's what you had it. And mud will show up on the mini-map too. It's M. Should we not run it? There we go. All right, and let's do M for the players as well, because you had mud there. Now, They said, going through the notes here, they want the flank players to be closer together. So these are the flank players here. So what could we do to move those flank players closer together? Well, we can decrease this radius for one. We need to run that first, though. But I sense that that's maybe not exactly what they meant. Let's tweak it and change it to 35. And let's change this to 0.8 to make it slightly elliptical. Actually, we'll do that. We'll do that later. $35. Okay, so you see this is where 35 radius is. And now we're going to add that elliptical shape. Now watch. Notice how all the players get sucked in a little bit, but the pockets get sucked in the most. So as that number goes down, the pockets get closer together. So I don't know if this is exactly what you guys want. Do you want this elliptical starting shape where the pockets are closer together, or what the deal is? Maybe you want something random. I don't know. Pyramid likes it. He says yes. So let's bump this back out to 40 and see how it looks that way. And we can actually even get cute, I think, with this, and we can like mess with the team angular offset between teams. So we can add other possibilities in here, if you will. Can the flanks be close to the edge of the map? Well, here's a case where these two flanks are closer together and these two flanks are further away. You don't really know without scouting. And in this case, these flanks are closer. Yes. Yeah, we could do that. That would be a matter of changing the eccentricity of the player starting arrangement. So we're basically going to go in here and put in all the parameters that you want, Pyramid, to get this player starting configuration right. But where I was going to go with this is I think we can try something to get the paths that you're looking for. And then hopefully the paths will be able to keep up with this variation as well. The position of the pockets is perfect like this. You think so? So they're not too far away, huh? From the center. I'm just not that experienced with connections. So I'm not really sure if I can get these guys to connect to this land in the middle. Maybe we can decrease the size of that land a little bit. All right, let's change the eccentricity now. And let's see if we can pull the pockets a little bit closer together. Or actually, we'll have to adjust both the eccentricity and the radius because it'll push these flank players closer to the edge of the map, which we can do. So one sec, let's work on that. One thing at a time here to give Pyramid what he wants. Oh, here's the team bias. Let's get rid of that. Oops. Yeah, that will definitely help. Let's run it without that team bias. Because right now, the teams were biased toward each other to be closer together, and this will make it so that the flanks are closer to enemy flanks and therefore to the edge of the map. So let's generate and see what happens. Alright, it moved very slightly. We could even make a negative team bias if we really wanted to play risky here. Let's do that. Let's see what happens when we make a negative team bias. So it's generally a very small number, 0.1 negative, and this will actually pull flanks closer together. I'm pretty sure that that third to last entry is team bias. Let me check. Yeah, it is. Okay. So we've run it. Let's see if we pull the flanks closer together now. Okay. Wow. And the pockets are affected by that too, but we can adjust the radius. Oh, come on, Harrow. There we go. In this case, they're closer together over here. DesAnderes says, I think if you set manual values for the cost of the connection, it might even work with connect all player lands. On the other side, you should be able to just connect. Otherwise, connect to non-player lands should do the trick if the middle land is only on that you created. Is the only one that you created. Yes, the middle one is the only one that I've created in this case. So what I'd like to hear from, though, is, yeah, I should try that stuff, DesAnderes, and that's next. I was going to do that. I was definitely going to do that first, as it's easier for me to do, but we have another tool in our box in case that doesn't work. We could try it. Let me increase this base size a little bit here for these lands. And let's change the eccentricity as well to pull the pockets in slightly. So let's increase the base size to like 18, and let's decrease this to 0.7 maybe, and run it. I saw Zetnus do something on stream earlier today where he actually did like connect players only, and then he created another terrain, and then he connected just to the center, and he made a very high cost to the terrain that he connected the players with, so the players only connected through the center. It was pretty nifty, actually. Okay. I mean, that's pretty aggressive. That's pretty close, I think. So I think we will generate a couple more times. I would really like to get Pyramid's feedback on it. We're going to continue adding some slop to this, if you will. But these two are very close together in this case. We'll give each of the players the same number of wood lines. So we can actually give them, let's do dirt. We'll go back to 6 for now. Actually. And in terrains, now, We can create terrain, and then we'll create the base terrain out of this grass. And we're going to base it off of dirt. Land percent 100, and not spacing other terrain types, but rather of set number of clumps. We're going to do 8. So we know we'll have exactly 8. And we're going to do set avoid. Actually, we're going to need more than that. Player start areas by like what? 14? Set scale by groups. Okay. To make these more circular, so if we want to avoid the player start areas by more, so we're ultimately going to be putting these forests down. All right, I think that maybe that's reasonable. Maybe we make it a little bit bigger. 22. All right, that's starting to get the flat edges here, but I think it will be okay. All right, let me step away real quick. I'll be right back. Oops. Pyramid, I want you to tell me, let me actually, let's add some more variation here before I step away. 46. And what is this? I think these are Cartesian slop. Oh no, SA is a seed angle. Yes, we need to do stuff with this. So we'll do like 0, 45, 90, 135, and 180. I don't even think we need to do that. 22.5 and 67.5. That might be overkill. What other options do we have? The third one is the plus or minus Cartesian coordinates, which we could make plus or minus 1. Let's try that. Base elevation is set to 0. So otherwise we have, so this will control these, and this one will control the overall orientation, like clocking around the center, and then this one is pocket positioning to the flanks. Oh man, look at how close these guys are together. That's funny. But we can definitely do some brawling here. I think maybe Pyramid would be happier if we look at that. If we made that angular distance to the centroid of teams a little less biased. So like this is perfect 180 right here. So the center between these players is essentially 180 degrees. If you had an angle in between them in the center of the map, the angle between these two players is 180 degrees if you drew the lines to the center. We can definitely make some very chaotic stuff. So these two are a little bit further apart. So I think to make that a little bit more even and consistent, we can decrease this, make this plus or minus 5 instead of plus or minus 10. And then we'll decrease this bias to 15%, or increase it to 15%. It's going to think about it. All right. Sorry, let's check this out. Ooh, that 15% bias, it might be too strong. So what do you think, Pyramid? Yeah, that was a bit too close. I agree. Well, we could dial this back to... We could do a couple things. We could make this a little bit more consistent. Make this like 176 to 184, so it's plus or minus 4. And then maybe we make this point, we make it 14%, slightly. So this is a starting arrangement that is Tech Chariot technology. This sort of starting arrangement cannot be randomly generated on any other map to my knowledge. No one else has this. So I'm glad that I'm able to help you out uniquely in that sense. Yeah, as long as they're not touching, we can do the forests appropriately. I'm not really sure why this one is refusing to get the grass in properly, but oh well. Okay. Pyramid loves it. Yeah, I think this is going to work. I think this one is good. And it's still, let's see how many actual options we've got here. We could even make this random too. We could introduce more possible biases. Let's count how many options there are. How big is the file, first of all? First of all, how big is Jungle Brawl? It is, oh, all right. It's only 75 kilobytes. So we've actually got some room to expand it. So if we know that 176 and 184, if we know that range works, then we know that we should be able to use any numbers within that range. So now we could do like 175, 176, 177, let's go by twos actually, because I don't want to take forever. All right, and then 182 and 44.5, 45.5. These, let's go from 0 to 90 again, but maybe we'll go in increments of 15, 30, 60, and 75. Now this radius is always the same. We could expand that radius slightly, or we could just leave as it is. It's up to you. But we've got these other parameters heavily broken up, if you will. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 5 times 5 times 6. So we have 150 different starting configurations right now. And that is if you do not consider the fact that technically in a Cartesian coordinate system, the player lands are plus or minus 1%, just for a little bit of extra randomness. So let's run that. Oh, it's thinking about it. All right, no, it did it. 11 seconds and it did it. Let's check the file size again. It's 240 kilobytes this time, so it's bigger, but it's still manageable. Generate it. Okay. I like it. Pyramid said that he loved it before I messed it up, so we can only assume that he still loves it. So let's try something with these connections now. Just because I'm not too familiar with them, and I see that DesAnderes is in the chat. Maybe he knows about them. Can give me some advice. Pyramid still likes it. Okay, good. So I have another script where I did use some connections, and we can use them here. Connections, here we go. So we'll put those connections just before the land generation section, I guess. So we can connect all players' land. Oh man, how do I even do this? What are my options? Not an expert with this sort of thing. Connections. Okay. Connect all players' lands. We can connect the team lands. We can connect all lands. All right. Connect same land zones. Connect to non-player land. I think this is what we want, because it's not a player land. Connects all player lands to all neutral lands, but do not directly generate connections between individual players. Okay, I think this is the one that we want here. Connect to non-player land. And we will put that in our script file. And we're going to replace the terrain that is grass with we need another argument here with mud. M. And terrain cost grass we're going to make 4. Terrain size, get rid of this. Make that 3 maybe. Let's check the guide again. Replace terrain old, terrain new. So we have that. Grass we're turning into mud. And what's next? Terrain cost, terrain type cost, we have that. Terrain size. for the terrain type, the radius, and the variance. Okay. So I guess we'll just put grass here. We'll see how it works. Hey, look at that. Look at that. It worked the first time. Nice. Uh-oh. I guess this isn't gonna mess up too much of what we're doing here. But we need to give it a higher avoidance too, because we don't want it to piggyback off of this. So we need to make dirt very high cost. Well, it's really not gonna be dirt when we do this, because we're gonna have all these other terrain generation effects. But let's decrease the cost of grass to be like 1. And we'll do terrain cost dirt of like 6. And then we'll keep this seed and we'll generate it again. There we go. Alright, that's a lot better. Alright, I'm going to step away real quick. I'll be right back. And we're going to go in and we're going to do the player forests now. We could generate random elevations too across the map. Okay, I'm back. Let me know what you guys think about this crazy player starting program that I wrote that basically messes with the player starting arrangement. Oh shoot, we don't want to keep generating this seed anymore. These players kind of meet up here. I don't know if that's ideal. We might be able to tweak some settings to change that though. Okay, we actually have code for Flotagano that does this sort of thing. So let's emulate that. Here we go. Player forest. So we're gonna copy all of this. Come on. All right. And paste it into Jungle Brawl. Now I don't know if we have, let's get rid of this. Should actually check it. No! It didn't copy everything. So we'll... What? Oh, here we go. Okay. So we'll copy everything, including the line below it, and now it should get everything. There we go. So we're not going to be working with DLC Desert Gravel. Create terrain, DLC Dirt 4, base terrain, number of clumps. No, all right. So we'll keep the first one because we'll emulate the structure, but we are gonna get rid of all this. And if wait, what happened? I'm gonna get rid of all of this. Yep, that'll be right. So this will make it a little bit easier for us to read. And we're going to take this and we're actually going to move this inside. And this will get everything nice and good for us. We might even repeat that several times just to make sure that we have it how we want it. None of this should apply because we don't have the proper base terrains in. Okay. So let's put that up here, and this is basically going to sort of set it up, if you will, to round those areas. Okay. Save it. Okay, we don't need Flotogano anymore. Don't save. Copy that. Alright, and let's just give it 8 of them just for fun. And we should hit generate that. The rest of that code shouldn't hurt it. Oh, by the way, Pyramid, this works for 4v4 too, or at least it should. Let's check that out. 8 players on a large map size. Yep. These players are a little close together. Yeah, they're a little close together. The pockets are here and here. I think it's because they're sort of pushing the flanks to be closer together. I'd like it to work for all sizes. In order for this to work, we cannot allow these sorts of intersections. So I think I'm going to dial back the team bias a bit. 0.12 maybe. Keep this seed. Oh right, we didn't change anything. We just changed the number. Okay. Still not quite there. Well, we could make this 177, 183, 181, and 179. Try that. All right. All right, that's better. No intersections. So if we see intersections, we will not allow them. And let's test on the 8-player, because we know that if it works on the 8-player, it'll work on 6-player as well. So we'll need to keep this seed. And let's peel this back. Okay. What? What did we do there? When this is plus or minus 2. Wonder if we increase the mud cost so it doesn't want to go over itself. Is it generating the connections one at a time, I wonder? I don't think this has anything to do with it. But if it does, we'll just comment it out. Yeah, these are touching. Should not be touching. Let's decrease that base size by 1. Rerun it. Plus or minus 1 could also be a problem. Not quite. Although the connection does look better. Did we not? I don't think we touched the connection. No, we didn't. Let's decrease it by 1 more. And see if that does the trick. Okay, there we go. Let's do some more generations. You know, this almost maybe looks like some kind of weird symbol, if you think about it. The other thing that we could do to build safety in is we could actually give the adjacent players, or the players on different teams, different terrain types. I think Crazzini gives all players different terrain types. It seems a little bit extreme to me. But he might have a good reason. Okay. Let's redefine this. See what we get. This one's slightly rounded. Doesn't look like the rest of it's doing anything. We did save it. The avoidance is just too large at this point. We don't have... We could try dialing it back. So we have to do that. So what do we increase? We decrease that by 3 or 2 or something. So let's do 20. Gah. Well, we'll decrease that unbiased slightly then. Keep that seed. Okay, better. Okay, I think this is going to work. And if we know it's going to work for the 4v4, then it'll work for 3v3. So let's go back to, let's take a look at 3v3 to make sure we haven't accidentally made 3v3 too passive. These players are still pretty close together, I think. I think they'll be all right with it. Okay, so let's go through with this individual forest creation then. So we're going to create terrain dirt 4, base terrain dirt, number of clumps 1. We don't need anything about height limits in here. And now we're going to create terrain. Oh, thanks, Pyramid. No worries. Sorry if I'm not commenting a lot. I'm just looking and trying to follow. You really know your thing. I like it a lot. I appreciate that. So we're going to create terrain jungle here. It took me a long time to learn how to script. So base terrain, DLC dirt 4, clumping factor 30. Set a player, avoid player start areas by 15, and we'll see how that looks. And, oh wait. Oh, okay, I see. I remember how this works now. Okay. So, the number of forests, and then after that we're going to create terrain grass for the rest of this on the DLC Dirt 4, and we're going to replace it back. Okay. So we should give one of the players forests now. And yes, that is indeed the case. Unfortunately, we have this path trying to go through the rainforest, which we're going to have to correct. So we'll tell it to avoid jungle, actually, because technically it's jungle terrain. And it looks like it's a little bit far from the player start area. So maybe we want it to tell it to avoid by 13. They might feel like the wood lines are too close in that case. I think these are okay. They could be a little bit further away, but if we make them further away, in order to do that, we have to increase the size of this bubble, if you will, and then it's more likely that stuff will intersect over here, and then it'll mess up with the proper forest generation. So I think these wood lines are all right. I'm okay with them for now. We can always make modifications. But I think that these are aggressive wood lines too. Like, you could camp archers outside each of these. They're not too big. They are close, but they're not too big. You could even make them, let's see what 14 looks like. And let's also come over here to our connections, and we're going to do terrain cost. So we don't want it going through jungle. And we're going to make that 6 as well. And we'll generate it. Does not appear to have respected the jungle at all. Boo! See, remember that this path isn't here. It's not here when these lands are first placed. So maybe it's just fundamentally too wide. We could decrease the width of it. That might help. It'd be a matter of probability. Okay. Got one big long wood line in that case. 14 might be too difficult for it. Could try even 1 to see if it's how it looks with 1. So do we have to tell it to avoid leaves, maybe? Because that's the terrain that the jungle is on? No. Leaves is even worse. So we'll keep this seed and we'll tell it jungle again. I forget how high you can make them. I think you can make them up to 15. Now it seems to be going around. Let's try increasing it to 12. Oops. I guess this is like, from its perspective, this is perfect. It doesn't mind if it's too close to this forest because technically it's not going through this forest. It's going around the forest. But it looks like it's kind of impinging on the forest a little bit. I don't know. What do you guys think? We could try increasing the size of these and then just filling it with forest later and telling this to avoid the terrain that's surrounding the forest, if you will. Maybe that's the play. So let us, while we're here, and that's fine. We'll have 6 here. But we'll actually tell it to avoid leaves. And then let's put create terrain leaves here. And we'll tell the leaves to avoid the player start areas by 12. And we will give them, instead of 120 tiles, we'll scale this up. So we'll make this 160 and the other one 200. And then we'll put the jungle on top of that. So after it's all said and done, afterward, we'll copy this, let's say down here, generally. We'll create terrain. Jungle. And base terrain will be leaves. And no strings attached except spacing other terrain types. Will be 1. Okay. So now we're going to get these patches of leaves, and this path will avoid it, and the jungle will be on top of that patch of leaves. Okay, good. That looks a little bit more realistic. Unfortunately, the jungle is quite small compared to that. The player assigned forests are much smaller in that case. And I can't really increase their spacing to the outside world without running the risk of getting these players touching each other, which I cannot allow that to happen. So I think we're going to go back to the way it was. Jungle for now. Here we go. And we have, yeah, this is fine. Let's copy this a bunch more times. So if we have one of these for each player, we should get the players, all the players, to have the same number of forests. So bam. Now 2 players have this. Third player forest. Okay. Pathing and replacing through the jungle at an even higher cost will create a small imbalance, but it might be a quick and easy solution. Well, I already have the jungle at a higher cost, so I'm not sure I understand. 4th player forest. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8. Okay. Bam. Player forests. You're only replacing grass so far, aren't you? Yes, here. All right, let's do some more random generations. All right, so we can add neutral forests now. I think we're basically good to go on these player forests. On Flotogano, I doubled it up, and I did twice as many. Oh, something smells really good downstairs. But I think I can get away with just doing the 1 this time. I've got a pretty good technique down for it. So I think I should be able to make an even higher cost for grass. Because I would like to try to prevent this from happening. I don't know, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe Pyramid can weigh in. You know, do we want to try to get these connections to hit this mud a little bit closer, further apart from each other? Because as it stands right now, if we put the boars at the end of this path, then Blue could walk up here and he could actually take Purple's boars as well as his own. But I think we are going to leave these player forests for now. Actually, what time is it? 6 o'clock? It's time to start play testing. But I think we have a good start on this map. It's sort of surprising. The map doesn't really require a gazillion lands. ultimately I'm putting down 9 lands total. I just have a bunch of logical statements and contingencies in for the player lands, but there's one neutral land in the middle, and that's it. That's all we need. I was thinking we would have to do something crazy. Yeah, we can't really decrease the cost of grass, can we? We could try increasing the cost of grass, actually. Maybe make this like 6 and this 12. So it doesn't want to join together like this. Ah, yes, okay, that's much better. It'll try to take a straighter path now. I like that. So we could do a neutral forest just real quick to throw down a little bit more character before we start the test. She's going to borrow from Flotagano again. All right. Right. So where are the neutral forests? We've got all these collapsible things, and then we never use them. Here we go. So we'll collapse that, add a space here, and then we'll grab all of this. Oh, we have all these different options for the number of players in the game. I don't think we need to do that. Oh, you don't have to know how to do this to be active in the community pyramid. I'm the only one in the Viridux community that knows how to map script, actually. I've been trying to get some other people interested, though. Alright, so let's just add this as kind of like a backdrop, because this is a little secret jungle area, right? So we're going to create terrain jungle. Base terrain is going to be grass. We'll get rid of these other things too. We don't need that. Number of clumps. Number of tiles. We're going to say land percent 100. Set player avoid start areas by like to 40. And we'll see what happens here. Basically to sort of give you this almost an arena feel to it. And surround everything that's not near the player lands with jungle. Okay. There you go. Maybe we make it bigger than that. Maybe we make it a little bit smaller. Actually, we do have to make it a little bit bigger than that, don't we? Because we've got some jungle blocking here. Unless we made... No, we don't. We really don't want to make this... Well, we could actually. We could make this mud a little bit bigger. Let's try doing that. So maybe we make the mud a little bit bigger by dialing this back to like 30, maybe 30, like 32. You're in a good place, Pyramid. We will do great things together. Spent your time and energy getting to the position where you can organize tournaments with some serious prize pool. So that's nothing to sneeze at. We all have our roles. And now you and I are going to work together, and that's exciting. Okay? So it could be something like that. It's this player's forest, actually. There's a little patch right there. So I guess think about it and let me know where you want to go with the direction of this. Do some more generations of it. If you want this to have a feel like it's in a forest nook, you know what we could do? We could even make it unwallable too. Like we could make this DLC rock. Let me show you. The possibilities are limitless. And then we could put the jungle on top of it. So you can't wall to the edge. Oh, whoops. We did the wrong thing. Wrong base terrain. Base terrain needs to be DLC rock. But you hang around on the stream enough, Pyramid, and with us, and come to these sorts of streams and such, and you'll learn. Okay? So, bam, there you go. DLC rock. So now you can't wall this. Oh, then you say, well, that sucks. You can't wall it. So what we'll do next is we'll make leaves, and then we'll put the jungle on the leaves, similar to what they do for Land Madness, I think it is. So we'll put this down here, and we'll create terrain leaves. And we'll save that, spacing to other terrain types. Yeah, that's fine. We'll give this maybe like 2 or 3. 3 maybe? Okay, and then the jungle is going to be replacing the leaves. Oh, actually, this is what we want to be 1, and this is what we want to be 3. Okay? There you go. And you could do all kinds of like appropriate masking over it and such. So you can't wall to the edge of the map here. But basically the presence of all this wood back here makes the map more aggressive. Because there's less space, right? Players will be fighting for map control. And they'll be fighting for the center. And we don't even necessarily have to make it all an all or nothing sort of thing. Like we could put pockets back here with neutral resources back here. So we could just as easily come back around and we could say, let's generate some leaves now. And we'll do this on the jungle terrain. And we'll have space and other terrain types of 1. And then again, we'll generate some jungles on the leaves. Jungle, base terrain, leaves. Except maybe this time land percent is like, I don't know, 6%. And the number of clumps is actually 40. And the spacing to other terrain types is something like 6. Okay? So we have like this hidden area that you chop through too. That could be fun. Pyramid, I'm trying to tell you the sky's the limit here. Okay? Like look at this. Oops. Don't look at this. Don't look at this. Spacing other terrain types. So you put the jungle down. Oh, okay. I think we need like 5 here. Okay, you can look now. Okay? So like look at this right here. Now isn't this a fascinating concept? Let's make this a little bit bigger. Maybe like 10 and make land percent something closer to like 4 and number of clumps we'll leave at 40. Now you've got this hidden area where you chop through to the outside, and maybe we could put some golds back here, some stones back here, or other resources back here. I mean, the sky's the limit, Pyramid. We can do whatever we want, you know. And we of course can optimize all of this. So maybe you have all the relics are back in this area. I don't know. Maybe you chop through to the relics. Maybe the gold is back here, or maybe the relics are in the middle and you chop through to the gold. I don't know. Or maybe the stone is out here. So I'm overdue. I gotta run. Um, I owe DesAnderes some testing, so we're gonna do that now. But it's been really fun having you, Pyramid. It's been fun working on this so far. I'm looking forward to continuing to work on this. The land generation was nowhere near as complicated as I thought that it would need to be, because we made it work simply with connections, which is nice. Might have to increase the size of this mud patch a little bit so that the rocks don't show up here. Pyramid's going to think about it. Thank you for the session. Exactly, that's perfect, Pyramid. So I just totally made all this stuff up over here. This is literally, we could change this in 30 seconds if you wanted to. But it was just an idea that I had while I was working on it. So, you know, pick what you want. Let me know what you want. We'll make it. I'm really looking forward to working with you. So we are going to end the stream here. We've been scripting for 2 hours and 43 minutes about. I really appreciate people's time. It's good that they were joining us. So we're gonna end the stream, and then we're gonna immediately start another one within like 5 minutes. So don't go anywhere. But because this is being streamed on YouTube, this is basically just going to give me the ability to sort of compartmentalize my content. And we did some scripting, and we're about to do some testing next. So we really appreciate everybody's involvement. So we'll end it here, and then we'll restart it literally in like 5 minutes. And we'll test some maps. DesAnderes has 2 really handsome looking maps that I want to see. If I don't get the chance to play, I want to see them played by someone else. And we've got folks. So we'll see you guys soon.